Hello peeps, how you doing? Today's adventure brings me to the Dudley Canal in Caverns. Just booked the tour. Here's the prices. That's the one I've just booked to £12. And it's also guarantees you free return for the next 12 months except public bank holidays. No smoking, no vaping. Recognise that place over there. Our famous Black Country Museum, just over there, look. It's where you go for the boat trips down here into the gift shop. I'll take you down a bit later on. Here's the canteen and cafeteria in here. And there's what's on the wall. There we go. Those are in their boats over there. The tour's about 45 minutes long. So we'll take it from there. There we go. This is canteens upstairs. Come downstairs, the gift shop's in there. Recognise our old friend there. Here's a bit of history of the tunnels. I hope I haven't got to do any of that today. I gather that's the door that's shut. Come across some little friends. There's been a guy out here feeding them. They must be the locals round here. So I've got another about 15 minutes. The Black Country Museum, you can actually get onto the Black Country Museum from here. And the Black Country Museum is through there. There we go. I just span that out a little bit. There's the Black Country Museum. Then you go into the Black Country Museum. Right, let's prepare myself for this boat trip. See you on the boat. Okay, here we go. On board. Ready for the trip. Health and safety. I think not bad, is it? We've got a place right at the front of the boat. Right at the front. I'm looking forward to this. There's quite a few on. We set off in about 2 or 3 minutes. So it should be fun. Here we go.
Right then folks, you all ready to go? All excited?
Yes.
Right. Just for the kids at the back here, we have got members of the public on front, the front of the boat, so if we can keep the noise down to a minimum so we can all hear, that would be really appreciated.
Oh, come on.
Right, we're going down into the deep dark mines, through the tunnels, keep your hands in the boat, that's it. Before we get there, there's a little bit of health and safety I've got to go through. Please remain seated throughout the journey. A couple of places you will be able to stand up and I'll tell you about them as we get to them. But generally if you're seated you'll be safe. Now in front of you all there's a big red upstand that goes all the way around the boat. Make sure you keep everything inside of that band. It's a big boat in a little tunnel so it does bump and bounce off the walls as we go down. Absolutely nothing to worry about though. Well, not unless your feet start getting wet. We have got several life rings dotted around. We've also got fire extinguishers on the steps with me in the middle. At the back with Brian we've got a first aid kit and a radio to shore should we need any extra help. So here we go into the tunnel. You're all welcome to take photos, but please turn the flashes and lights off on your phones please and your cameras. You get a better picture without it and it doesn't disturb the people around you.
Oh, just been dripped
So,
on.
welcome to the Dudley tunnel.
Just been dripped
It
on.
does get a little bit drippy in some places.
Oh.
It's absolutely nothing to worry about though, it's only the toilets leaking above us. It's only rainwater. Right, so the Dudley tunnel. Almost 250 years old. Constructed back in 1778 for the Earl of Dudley. Now we had the tunnel built to allow him to get his narrowboats down into the limestone mine. Once he can get his boats into the mines, he can then load them with the limestone, and then he can transport it up and down the country using the waterways. Prior to boats going in, he would have been using horse and cart, but this restricted him to moving 1 to 2 tons at a time. So when he got the boats in, he could load the boats with up to 30 tons, so it was a lot more efficient for him using the boats. As we go down the tunnel, you'll notice this grey slimy substance on the walls and on the roof of the tunnel. This is something called calcite, and it's created by the rainwater on the surface, filtering down through all the rocks above us. When it finally runs into the tunnel, the water evaporates and it leaves all the minerals behind. Like I say, it's called calcite, and it's very similar to the limestone that you get at home around your taps and in your kettles. Get ready to hold on to your hats, folks. We're just about to pass under one of the construction shafts. These are vertical shafts that go up from the roof of the tunnel all the way up into the surface. There were 13 of these originally, only 3 of them remaining. And we should be passing 2 of them today on our journey. Just above the boat now. Hold on to your hat and take a look up. Watch out for the drips. Just coming into Shirts Mill Basin now. This was a loading wharf for the 2 mines. Over on the left hand side, what looks like the old cave, that's flooded mine over there, an old drift mine. And then behind me, what looks like the railway tunnel, that's Tipton mine. Now Tipton mine's a shaft mine. That tunnel goes back into the hill about 30 feet, and at the back there's a big round shaft that drops down 80 to 100 feet below us. And that's where the majority of the mines in this area would have been, 80 to 100 feet below where we are now. We only get to see about 5 or 6% of them on the level we're on. Short connecting tunnel brings us out into Castle Mill Basin. Sharp left-hand turn as we come round here, so the boat might touch the sides as we go round. But as we leave, if you look over to the right-hand side, you'll see another tunnel over there. Got a big steel gate in it. Now that tunnel over there, that's the Wren's Nest tunnel. That goes back about a mile under the Wren's Nest Hill. and eventually comes out in a massive cavern known as the Seven Sisters Cavern. It's no longer safe to go through there, which is why it's all been locked on. However, the Trust does have plans to try and open that up in the future. But it's going to cost us at least £28 million to make that one safe. Two more tunnels in front of us, the one on the right hand side, the older looking one, that's the continuation of the Dudley tunnel. If everything goes as planned on our trip today, we should be coming back out on that one later on in the journey. But we're aiming for the tunnel on the left hand side. This one here is known as the 89 tunnel. So called because it was built in 1989. It's the newest tunnel we've got down here in the system, and the Trust had it constructed to allow us to do the circular trips around the mines. Now as we come into the tunnel, you'll notice this repetitive pattern on the walls and the roof. This is a tunnel lining system known as egg box lining. Now as we come round the corner here, we're about 150 feet below the surface. Now we haven't got down a hill, we've come in flat on the canals, meaning it's a hillside that's risen up above us. This next section of tunnel with the red lights around it, this is the weak spot of the tunnel. This is the Castle Hill fault line. This is a fault line that runs right the way across our country, unfortunately passing through our tunnel. But we did identify this in its very early stages, and we had a big steel cage constructed and installed around the tunnel. So in the event of any earthquakes like we had back in September 2002, it allowed the tunnel to flex and move but prevented it from collapsing. Just coming into the first of our mines now, we're coming into Little Tess. We've got a short film to show you here, big screens up on the left hand side of the boat. Just tells you a bit more history and geology of the hillside.
Billions of years ago, as our planet warmed, it was born as a world of molten rock and poisonous vapors. Slowly the surface cooled until the first skin of solid rock formed. But not atmosphere, even only just a few miles away, floating on molten material. For hundreds of millions of years, ours was a violent world devoid of life. No one knows for certain quite how or why it happened, but around 2 billion years ago, in a warm, shallow pool, a tiny, single-celled creature developed. A creature that could divide and reproduce itself, and change to meet the challenges of its harsh environment. A creature that was destined to change the face of the earth and become the father and mother of all life on the planet. Millions of years later, the Dudley area was a shallow part of the sea, and from that single-celled creature had evolved a wide variety of life forms: trilobites, shellfish, sea lilies, and giant corals. Welcome to Silurian times, where the rock around you was a living world 400 million years ago. As these creatures died, their remains sank to the bottom of the sea and were entombed in the mud. A steady rain that went on for millions of years. As later deposits were laid down, this mud was eventually compressed to form rock, still bearing the imprints of those creatures that lived and died millions of years before. We know this rock today as limestone, those imprints as fossils. The climate changed, and the age of the trilobites came to an end. The tropical sea was replaced by shallow swamps. Huge trees and ferns colonized the land. Animals followed: insects, scorpions, lizards, and giant dragonflies. When they died, their remains sank into the mud and were in turn recorded in the layers of fossilized plant material which eventually became coal. Many seams of coal were laid down, giving the geological period its name, the Carboniferous. The coal, interspersed with deposits of iron ore, was eventually covered by later rocks and sank many hundreds of feet below the surface. Folding and fracturing of the Earth's crust pushed deposits of coal and limestone up through the later rocks, as wind and rain over millions of years eroded away these later deposits, leaving Dudley Castle Hill and the nearby Wren's Nest Hill standing proud as we see them today. These hills, with their thick coating of vegetation, remained largely undisturbed as life and eventually man evolved around them. Undisturbed, that is, until human technology took a sudden, dramatic turn. The Industrial Revolution. A revolution driven, engineered, and supported by iron. And iron's production required iron ore, coal to fire the furnace, and limestone as a flux to remove the impurities. Hundreds of millions of years of geology came together to make the Dudley area central to iron production and vital to the Industrial Revolution. Initially, the limestone was quarried from the sides of the hill, and as those deposits were exhausted, deep pits were dug as the miners followed the seams. As they went deeper, it became ever more difficult to raise the stone to the surface. The solution to this problem came in 1778, when the Earl of Dudley, who owned the mines, constructed a canal and tunnel into the hill to connect his mines to the Birmingham-Wolverhampton Canal and so to the rapidly expanding network of inland waterways. The tunnel was later extended through the hill, serving the mineral ridgelands on the other side of the ridge and linking the Black Country industries to the river Severn. Where the tunnel crossed the limestone beds, the rock was mined. Vertical shafts were dug to reach the deeper seams. Branch canals, tramways, and loading doors were constructed and the stone brought out by boat to feed the furnaces of the Black Country. Huge caverns were created with pick and shovel and gunpowder. Massive pillars of rock left behind to support the roof. In a few moments we will enter one of those caverns. Above us, the surface, 80 feet below us, and now flooded, lie yet more man-made caverns. Today, the tramways are silent, and the limestone boats are gone. But let us spare a thought for the Black Country miners who carved out these caverns 200 years ago. Danger was their constant companion, and not all returned alive to the surface.
Just coming up on the screen now, you'll see the names of just a few of the miners that lost their lives working down in these caverns. Over the years, there would have been hundreds killed, and thousands being injured. It was that bad, they reported around the time of big production down here, they were losing on average 4 miners every month. Right, we're going to start making our way out, a little test. Before we go, behind that big screen there you've been watching, that's where our biggest cabin is. It's a huge space known as Dark Cabin. It's that big you could fit St Paul's Cathedral in there. The Victorians turned it into an exhibition room. They carved steps in and thought about it. It was originally a tramway. How old are you kids? 10. You'd all be working down here. You'd start working down here about 9 years old, working in complete darkness for 12 hours a day, pushing the mine carts from one end of the tunnel to the other. Do you fancy working down here? You don't mind? Coming up on the right hand side here, we've got 2 illuminated areas. These are just good examples of the calcite formations, known as calcite ribbon and calcite curtain. It is very drippy there. That's the septic tank from the zoo. If you look up to the roof of the tunnel, you'll see the small stalactites forming up there. These are known as straw stalactites. There's a hollow down the middle. Right, when we come out of this tunnel, we'll be coming into the biggest cavern we can get our boats into. And this one's known as Singing Cavern. The boat might bounce off the walls a little bit as we're manoeuvring it, getting out to the far side.
I think it's for the effect.
Limestone was quarried here on Dudley Castle Hill for hundreds of years,
People that are
but
sat
the
outside the
arrival
boat,
of the
you want to
canal
stand up and
prompted
turn around,
rapid
feel free to do
increase in
so.
mining activity. And at its peak, the Dudley mines produced over 100,000 tons of limestone a year.
Can you sit
The
down?
extraction of the stone left behind a network of vast caverns, which became an attraction for scientists, engineers, and visiting dignitaries from abroad. The Dudley Caverns have also played an important role in the development of the science of geology and became renowned internationally for the quality and diversity of the fossils